All right, so guys, this is the next lesson where we're going to talk about treasure charting or creating a goal board. And by the way, I apologize for the light, but it's dark outside now, so I don't get the natural sunlight from the windows, so it looks a little bit funny with the incandescent lighting in here. Apologize for that. I'll try to work on setting up some better lighting in here going forward. All right, anyways, that's it. Let's get into treasure charting. Now, I got my notebook out because I really didn't want to try to transfer all this stuff to the whiteboard. It's too much anyways. So guys, take some notes on this if you're going to do this exercise. And listen, you know, I don't expect you guys, all of you guys, to do this. I bet there's a very, very small percentage of you that will actually do this exercise. And, you know, that's your loss. You can listen to this and say, oh, that's nice, and then never do it. And you'll never gain the benefits, and then you'll wonder 6 months from now, a year from now, 2 years, 5 years from now, why you never achieved your goals that you set, right? It's because you didn't put the effort in. Does that make sense? Now, guys, I'm not talking down to any of you here, but if you watch TV at night, instead of like at you know, an hour a night, 2 hours a night, whatever, to kind of calm or quiet your mind and just brain dead, mind-numbing stuff before you go to bed at night, you could have spent an hour or two creating this treasure chart, this goal board, and you could do it in one evening. And then you'd have something that you could look at that's going to remind you every time you see it about what's important to you in your life. Okay? So again, I know I would like to think that the vast majority of you would do this exercise, but I know from experience that a very, very small percentage of you will actually do this. But I highly encourage you to do this, guys. I'm doing it for a second time. I'm going to walk you through the process right now. So, treasure charting is a technique of, or a method for creating a visual goal board. So when we talk about defining goals, it's important to identify, like, write down your goals. We all, you know, we talked about this in the previous week's lesson, but most of the time people say, oh, I know what my goals are. Okay, then write them down and define them. No, I don't need to do that. I know what they are. I don't think that really works because I've done that myself for years. And the thing is, when you sit down to actually define your goal and write it down, you'll notice if you've tried it, if you've been following along for the last couple of weeks, you'll know most likely you've tried this and you've probably found it difficult, like I have, to write down your goals. So it takes considerable more time to write down your goals than you may think. Because you might think in your mind you've got an idea of what your goal is, but then when you actually go pen to paper or fingers to keyboard, you kind of hit writer's block, and then it's like, oh man, I have this abstract notion of what I want, but I can't really define it, or, you know, boil it down, distill it down into an actual statement, right? Or a couple of sentences or a short paragraph. And that's where it becomes difficult. But that's also where the true power of goal setting comes in, right? But that's only one way. My point is when we talk about defining and writing down goals, that we're talking about using language, words, and speech, essentially. It's still thoughts, I get that, but we're writing them down in, so we're using words, and that's a left brain thing, and that's our conscious mind. That's why we do it, right? Because we're speaking to our conscious mind. We're using our internal dialogue, and we think in words or pictures, but it's about 70% of the population actually thinks in words instead of images. Then there's it's a smaller set that thinks in images, and then there's a smaller set that actually thinks in feelings, what they call, I think, kinesthetic, which is feelings and you know, other than just speech and images, if that makes sense. So anyways, treasure charting or creating a goal board is a way to actually bring your right brain, your creative side, into the goal setting process. And by doing so, by combining the two, both the left brain with your written goals and your speech and your analytical conscious mind with your right brain, which is your creative, artistic, more, you know, more of your subconscious mind, by combining those two together, now you have a very, very powerful combination that your subconscious itself, your middle mind, so to speak, is now having data or images, goals thrust upon it from both directions, from both the left and the right brain, right? So it takes better, if that makes sense. And that's why I'm doing this one a second time, guys, because the first one I wasn't real happy with, and I did it, and it took me a few hours to do the first time. The second time it'll go a little bit quicker because I've done it once already. So here's the thing in a nutshell. For treasure charting, you want to start with getting a large piece of cardboard. You can go get a poster project board, or project board, you know, poster board, whatever, from Walmart. That's what I did. In fact, I just bought this last night. I went out last night at like 8 o'clock at night just to get my 3 foot by 4 foot board. And I think it's actually like 30 inches by 40 inches or something like that. So it's like 2.5 feet by 3.5 feet. But this is a project board, right? You just go get them at Walmart, like $3. So I bought that. And then I also got some glue sticks, some Elmer's glue sticks. And here's why. You start with a large piece of cardboard, a project board. Then you collect photos, images, illustrations, various things that can depict what your goals are. Now remember, in the previous lesson, we talked about worthy goal categories: developing high self-esteem, creating good health, wellness, and energy, developing healthy and loving relationships, professional and financial goals, mental goals, and spiritual goals. So those were the worthy goal categories. The reason why we started with that is because it gives you a starting point for your goal boards, your treasure chart, right? Those are 6 areas that we covered. So you don't, maybe some of you are already, you know, satisfied or content with your life in certain areas. That's fine. Then don't work on those. Just pick the ones that are most important to you. But I guarantee you that you probably can pick several of those 6 goal categories to begin working on to create balance in your life, right? So using those 6 goal categories, and you may have already written out your goals. You should have already written out your goals by now. We've been talking about this for a few weeks. If you've been following this at all, you should have already written out your goals. Well, go back and think about your goals based upon those 6 goal categories. And if you don't have goals in some of those categories, maybe now's the opportunity to start thinking about them and developing those goals and writing them down, defining them. And then remember, what's very important about defining your goals is also define the why. Not just the what, but the why. The why is equally as important, if not more important, than the what itself. Does that make sense? There's the what, the why, and the how. But the why is incredibly important because the why is where your motivation comes from, which will help you to follow through and to commit and to take action every day. Without the why, there's pretty much no action, there's no follow through. So the what doesn't matter without the why. And the how will never get done without the why. Does that make sense? So anyways, I know that might sound a little bit difficult, but so each one of these 6 areas you probably should have a goal for. And so with the treasure chart, you want the large piece of cardboard, and then you're going to start collecting photos, images, and illustrations that depict what that goal that you have set will be like when you have achieved it. In other words, find images that portray or depict what you having achieved your goals will produce. Does that make sense? So, for example, you could, if getting into better shape is one of your goals. So that would be goal number 2, creating good health, wellness, or goal category number 2, creating good health, wellness, and energy. If you want to have better health, let's say that first of all, you want to lose 20 pounds. Well, then go find images online of men or females, whichever gender you may be, that fit that body image type that you want, right? They don't, remember, it's not your own image. You're just finding images that appeal to you as far as their body type or their level of fitness, right? And you know, you can be bold here. Like, you know, you don't want to go from somebody that weighs, you know, 100 pounds soaking wet to a 300 pound, you know, rock hard bodybuilder. I mean, you certainly could make that a goal, but it's probably very unlikely with a very small body type. Likewise, if you're really, really big, you know, perhaps way overweight or obese or whatever, going and finding somebody that looks like, you know, Brad Pitt in the Fight Club is probably unlikely. I'm not saying it's impossible, because I'm certainly a testament that it's possible over time with consistent effort. That is certainly achievable. But what I would say is set a more realistic goal up front, which would be, you know, if you're trying to lose weight, maybe find you know, people that are around, or images, excuse me, around the target weight that you're setting is your first initial goal. If that makes sense, okay? Because remember, you can always increase your goals, improve your goals, raise the bar on your goals as you start to achieve them and accomplish them. So again, find some images that depict or portray what it will be like for you once you have achieved those goals. If it's professional and financial, it may be an image of for a lot of you guys are online marketers. Some of you guys do, local marketing. Some of you do affiliate marketing. Go find images from sales pages of products that people are pimping out there all the time, selling their products, and they put those screenshots of like ClickBank income, affiliate income reports, or JVZoo daily snapshots of affiliate sales generated, affiliate sales, that kind of stuff. If you do local marketing, you may go look at some of the groups out there that post a whole bunch of income reports, or take photos of checks and stuff like that, and use those, like put those on your image board, right? So you should have at least one image for each goal category. And guys, I'm going to walk through this, and then I'm going to kind of list these out in a step-by-step fashion for you. So if you're taking notes, just take some loose notes now, because we'll put it in a more structured fashion at the end of this video. So have at least one image for each goal category. Then on separate sheets of paper, write out a 6-month goal for each category, several sentences or a paragraph. So in other words, if you have a total of 6 categories that you want on your vision board or your treasure chart, right? Then you're going to collect at least one image for every one of those 6 categories. Then you're going to take 6 separate sheets of paper. Now guys, you don't have to do all 6. Just keep in mind, you don't have to do all 6. I would encourage you to try to add balance to your life, as I'm trying to do now, because I've been all work, no play for many, many years, no shit. And now I'm starting to add some balance back into my life. But so if you've got 6 goal categories that you want to work on, then get 6 separate sheets of paper. And what you want to do is write out a 6-month goal. So what you want to accomplish within 6 months for each one of those categories. And you want to write out what the goal is, the why, and what you know of as to be the how right now. Because remember, a lot of times we set goals and we really don't know how to achieve them, but you just start believing and taking action in a direction of the goal, and the path reveals itself, right? So keep that in mind. You want to know your what, your why, and at least have an idea of the how. Just a starting point is all you need. And then write out your 6-month goal and those details, right? So a few sentences to a paragraph. Write out the why you want it and the benefits you will receive from achieving it, right? So why you want the goal, and then what you expect the improvements or the quality of your life will have improved from achieving those goals. Next step, distill down to one sentence. In other words, write down those several sentences or a paragraph, whatever it may be, and then walk away from it. Give it a rest. Take the night off, Go relax, read a book, watch mind-numbing TV for a few minutes or whatever. Come back to it at either later on that day, the next day, whatever. Come back to your paragraph for each one of your goals, and then distill it down, condense it down to just the essence, to just a one sentence that can describe the essence of your goal. So you distill that 6-month goal from a paragraph or several sentences down to just one sentence, okay? Then again, take a break, walk away, go for a walk, do whatever it is that you do. Go play with your kids, go get freaky with your spouse, do something, right? Then come back to it again and distill that one sentence now down to a single phrase, which can be a handful of words, a couple of words, whatever. But you want to, once again, distill that one sentence now down to just a handful of words, a phrase if possible. Then once again, walk away. Come back at a later date, another day. Guys, don't wait days in between this, because you'll never come back and finish it. Make it a priority to finish this goal board exercise. Again, I just went out and bought another goal board, project board, and new glue sticks so that I can do this again, because I kind of half-assed the first one, if you want the truth, because it's a lot of work. But the idea is you only got to do this once, and then once your goal board is done, and I'm going to finish this in just a moment, I promise. But once the goal board's done, now you have something to look at that you can remind yourself with just a simple glance, a glimpse of the project board, your treasure chart. You'll see everything that is important to you, that you want to achieve, right there in color and images, and there's words involved too. And so it's combining the left brain and right brain to really solidify and just pound home, drive home that idea into the goal into your subconscious. So again, walk away from that simple phrase now, and then come back the next time and you want to distill that phrase now down to one word that captures the essence of the goal and what it means to you. This becomes like a power word or a trigger word, that when you think of that one word, it's going to expand in your mind like a flower, like one of those cans with a snake, right? You open the can and a snake comes popping out or whatever, or like a flower opening up. Like every time you think of that word or you repeat that word to your head, it's going to have this cascading effect of all these other, that image of or description of your goal is going to just kind of grow from that one word every single time you think about it, right? Or see it. And so it becomes a power word or a trigger word. It's very, very, very important. Repeat for all goals on the goal board. Then find each of these words in a magazine, online, etc., and print them out or cut them out of magazines or newspapers, whatever it is, preferably, or it would be good if you can find them in different colors, different fonts, different sizes for the power words. So again, if you've got 6 goals, you're going to end up with ultimately just 6 power words or trigger words, right? Go find those words. You don't write them out, go find them that are already in print somewhere else, or print them out yourself, or find them in magazines, whatever. Cut them out, and then what you're going to do is you're going to paste each one of those images, each one of those power words on the appropriate image on your goal board. So remember, you want to take your goal board, step 1, all right? Well, step 1 is actually you're developing your goals first, and I gave you the 6 goal categories. Again, you probably already have several of them written out. If you don't, start doing that, because you're going to need that first anyways. But think about those 6 goal categories. Then go get your project board. That's number 1. Number 2, collect photos, images, and illustrations that depict your goals. Okay, number 3, have at least 1 image for each goal category. You can have several, it's fine. You can create a collage on your goal board. So if you have 6, what I would do is take your primary goal, the one that's the most important to you, and I would put that at the very top, right in the middle, right? It could be either way, by the way, but put it right in the middle. Then if you have other supporting images, you can put those images around it, right? So other images that also reinforce, but whatever the primary image is should be the center of each one of the goal categories on your project board, your treasure chart, okay? So paste those images on the project board. Then, and you want at least 1 image for every goal category. So number 4 is on a separate sheet of paper, write out a 6-month goal for each category, several sentences or a paragraph, right? Then write out the goal, the why you want it, and the benefits that you will receive from achieving those goals. So step 5 is distill those sentences or that paragraph down to 1 sentence. Okay, step 6, distill down to 1 phrase or a couple of words. Right? So now you take the sentence, you distill it down to just a phrase or a handful of words. Number 7 is distill down to 1 word that captures the essence of the goal and what it means to you. This becomes your trigger word, your power word for that goal. Okay? So number 8, repeat for all goals on the goal board, however many you may have. Number 9 is find each of these words in magazines, online, etc., and print or cut them out, and then paste them onto the images depicting the goals on your goal board. Okay? And so what happens with your treasure chart, guys, is now every single time that you walk by, remember, guys, you don't have to share this with anybody. Obviously, if you've got family members in the house and they see you doing it, they're going to ask you questions. If you got kids, the kids will probably want to help you doing it anyways. In fact, this would be a great exercise for you to do with your kids. Perhaps maybe they could help you with your own board, which would be fun, to have your kids help you with it, right? And it would be something fun you could do with your kids. Or you could get your kids doing their own project boards, right? So that they each have their own treasure chart. And you could do a whole family thing, guys. Like, I've got a 12-year-old daughter. She doesn't live with me, but I get her every other weekend. And I'm going to have her this upcoming weekend. And I'm going to be working on this week. But I know she's very crafty and creative. And so she's probably going to love it. And I'm going to share this idea with her as well. And hopefully she's going to want to do it. And if she does, we're going to go out on Saturday and I'm, buy another project board, and I'll help her work on hers. And then she can help me finish mine if I'm not done yet. And it'll be fun, man. And my point is if you have a family, people in your household, some people may be critical of it. Who gives a shit? Let them suffer. I'm not talking about anybody in your household, but I know from my own personal experience and family that I've got not a lot, but there's some members of my family that would say, oh, that's stupid, and all that kind of stuff. Screw them. They're all miserable. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't care what anybody else thinks, man. That's part of, I don't have that note anymore, but part of improving your self-esteem is caring less about what others think, right? So anyways, get your goal board out. You don't have to share it with anybody. You can if you think it would be fun. Like, again, I think it would be great with kids, but you don't have to share it with anybody. So don't be embarrassed about it. Don't worry about it. Remember, you're taking control of your life. And because of that, you don't need to worry about, or you shouldn't worry about what other people think, because other people are leading lives of quiet desperation, right? Most men lead lives of quiet desperation, and isn't that the truth? And so don't be one of them. Take charge, right? And this treasure charting is a great way to do it, guys, because even though it's a lot of work, it ends up becoming fun, because the whole time you're working on it, what are you doing? You're keeping your goals in sharp focus. And it's not just about the wording of it and the self-talk. That's important. But it's not just that. It's also the visualization and involving the other senses, and the actions, the physical act of having to go look for the stuff, go to the store, buy stuff, go look for images online, cut them out or print them out, find magazines and flip through magazines, all that kind of stuff, and then pasting them. Then going back and working on the words, like, all of that is action. You're taking action towards your goals now, even though it's just on the very, very front side of it, right? The very preliminary steps. It's still taking action, which is starting to develop a habit of taking action towards the goals that you're setting. This is just taking actions on setting goals. Does that make sense? So it's kind of like a snowball effect, guys. You start to build momentum. And then what happens is, once it's done, you will have, instead of a blank board like this, which is what most people's goal board looks like, right? They don't have any. You'll have a collage of images that are depicting all the things that are near and dear or important to you. And then, what the hell is that? That's something on my camera. Oh, weird. Anyway, sorry, I'll edit that out. You'll end up with a goal board that has all the images that are depicting what is important to you, the goals that you want to achieve. The images will cause you to think about what it will be like once you have achieved them. And then the power words that are on the primary image for each one of those goal categories, the moment that you say those words internally, like in your mind's eye, and when you say it in your own head, or if you say it aloud, it's going to trigger like a blossoming or blooming of that goal all over again, right in your brain. And it's just an amazing experience. And so that was it for this, guys. Was talking about treasure charting and the goal board. I really hope you got a lot out of that. I mean, again, I highly encourage you to take action. Go do this, guys, because even though, like I said, I know it's a lot of work, it's worth it, and it will put you over and above, or so much further beyond what most people do when it comes to goal setting. Even most of the goal setting programs out there will tell you to write your stuff down, and a lot of them will even tell you to describe your why, because that's certainly important. But most of them fall short about adding the visual aspect to goal setting and the creative aspect, so that you're using all parts of your brain, both your left brain and your right brain, your analytical brain and your creative brain. And you do those together, and it creates the emotion, which is your midbrain, which is kind of like your, that's where your motivation comes from anyways, right? So it's like this trifecta of these three things. Now you've got your intellectual, your creativity, and your emotions all wrapped up into one action of setting goals. And it's just really, really powerful. I highly encourage you to do it. And we're going to see you in the next video, where we're going to talk about questions to consider regarding your goals. So we'll see you in the next video.